the same page, so is it time for Cleveland to consider trading OBJ? Another day, another chapter in the Ben Simmons saga. Guess who finally showed up in Philly? And Lamar Jackson with an absolute performance for the ages on the biggest stage Monday night. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jenna Wolf alongside Nick Wright, Chris Broussard, Kevin Wilds. Nick, did Lamar finally prove that he could win with his arm last night?
It was the finest game of Lamar Jackson's career. Unfortunately, I'm guessing the biggest Lamar Jackson critics went to bed early, so they didn't see it. They're waking up this morning, they're like, wait, what happened? Yeah, you should watch that. That was a hell of a performance by Lamar last night.
It was a late one last night, but we have to start this morning with news out of the NFL. Yesterday, head coach Jon Gruden resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders after a number of his emails were leaked to the public. Emails which included racist, misogynistic, and homophobic language over a 7-year period between 2011 and 2018. About everyone from team owners to Roger Goodell. Gruden steps down just 4 years into his 10-year, $100 million deal. Yesterday, he issued this statement. I have resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. I love the Raiders and do not want to be a distraction. Thank you to all the players, coaches, staff, and fans of Raider Nation. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. Raiders assistant Rich Bisaccia has taken over as the interim coach for now. But Chris Broussard, in a league that's trying to move forward, be more inclusive, what do you make of all this by Jon Gruden?
Well, obviously, he had to go, Jenna. I mean, he insulted a number of people groups that are represented not only within the league, but within the Las Vegas Raiders organization. And while I think every single team would have fired or led Gruden to resign under duress, however you want to phrase it, after these emails surfaced, it can't be lost on people that the Oakland Raiders or the Raiders organization, Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, they have always been, they've arguably been the NFL's model franchise for diversity, arguably. And that started under Al Davis, the late owner, whose son Mark now runs the team and obviously hired Jon Gruden a few years ago. But the Raiders were the first NFL team in the modern era to hire a black coach in Art Shell. They were the first team to hire a Hispanic coach in Tom Flores. They were the first team to have a female executive in former CEO Amy Trask. And before this season, their defensive end, Carl Nassib, came out as gay and became the first openly gay player to play in a regular season NFL game. So with all of that, I mean, Jon Gruden was obviously going against all that Al Davis and this franchise had stood for in terms of diversity and inclusion, not to mention the league. I mean, you have messages of stop hate and inspire change on the back of players' helmets, in the end zones, in racism, things like that. And to have a head coach with a plethora of emails going against all of that was just untenable. I think he would have, or at least in the short term, he would have, Nick, survived the first email about DeMaurice Smith, the executive director of the Players Association. But he, that may have been short term because it would have depended on how the players responded to him, because they were listless in that game against Chicago the other night. But long term, after these emails surfaced, there's no way he was going to last.
Gruden had a tiny bit, and it was tiny, but a tiny bit of wiggle room around the DeMaurice Smith email. And that wiggle room is he's just an idiot. There was the only reason Jon Gruden deserved any benefit of the doubt was, is he really dumb enough to not know that calling a UVA grad, established lawyer, who happens to be a black man, dumb, and comment on the size of his lips wasn't racist. And the only possible out there is I'm literally just a stupid, stupid man. And I'm unaware of all of American history, contemporary tropes, and racism. And it's like, all right, is he that dumb? Maybe. I guess if the players and guys that have worked with him are going to defend him. I haven't been around Gruden. I'll give you the 1% chance you didn't know exactly what commenting on the size of DeMaurice Smith's lips actually means. But there is no wiggle room here. He used the most offensive slur imaginable for gay people and directed it seemingly haphazardly at anyone and everyone who he thought wasn't acting man enough or tough enough. He called gay players queers. And to go back to the stupid part, he's out here sending naked pictures of women to other grown adults on their work emails. Where you do that at? And I understand that we have done this weird thing for some people where anything that happened in the past, some people want to act like was a youthful indiscretion. These emails started when Jon Gruden was 48 years old, and they went up until 2018. Wilds, listen, I am not a huge fan of the thing that some folks do, which is the moment a player gets drafted into the league. It's like, hey, here's a tweet from when he was 13 years old. I'm like, okay, that's a little unfair. Right. Even like, you know, he's a kid, he's an idiot. Like, but this is Jon Gruden as a grown man, having worked in the NFL, still working with the NFL, sending naked pictures of cheerleaders, using horrible language about any and every group that he's not a part of, and doing it amongst others. And by the way, Bruce Allen and the other people CC'd on these emails, we're not going to talk about them today because they're not Jon Gruden and the head coach of the Raiders, but they look damn near as bad. Because I guarantee you that, Wilds, and I'll throw it to you, that if someone sent you an email using that type of language, you have a very terse response and then say, remove me from this chain, please. You don't guffaw and laugh along with it. So this was a no-brainer for the Raiders, and I'm shocked Gruden didn't resign Sunday night because he knew these were coming. He knew they were out there and that it was going to continually be dripped until he finally quit or got fired.
Yeah, so he coached on Sunday night, and after the game, which Broussard mentioned was a listless performance, the players had to answer, hey, why'd you guys play so badly? And Josh Jacobs said, oh, there's nothing to do with it, and Perryman said he wanted to focus on football, and Yannick Ngakoue said, oh, I have no comment. So here's what that made me think, Broussard, and I'll throw it to you. The NFL is a world-class organization with world-class players, and they deserve world-class leadership. And when I thought about these players, I said, you know what? The average length of an NFL career is 3 years. So every guy playing 4 years, there's another guy playing 2. Every guy playing 5 years, there's another guy playing 1 year. If you deserve a coach that is 100% focused on your success and you following your dreams, because your career might end that Sunday. That's what you deserve as a player. I know there's a lot of conversation about what Jon Gruden deserves. You deserve exemplary leadership. There's only 32 jobs in the world. You could be the 33rd best head coach in the world and basically not have a job. So these players deserve better. It was an untenable situation. It was smart to resign from Jon Gruden.
Well, you deserve better. Let's face it, and I'll make this point quickly because it's not the scope of this conversation, but Jon Gruden, his last 9 years as an NFL head coach, not including this season, he made the playoffs twice.
Not good.
So beyond all of this madness, we can question how good of a coach Jon Gruden really was. This is the 4th season with the Raiders, and they had yet to have a winning